I want to give you two examples from my own life where I have found huge freedom by making little tweaks, and how it's just made such a big difference and given me such a momentum boost to other areas of my life. Hi, this is Kelly Hine. I want to challenge you to look at one little area of your life in which you've been feeling stuck and frustrated. And I want to help you to see that getting unstuck could be simpler than you think. You know, research tells us that when we want to make a shift and want to make a change in our lives, that it's actually little steps are incredibly powerful. Because if we try to make a great big change, we're really focusing on what's doing something differently, but we're not changing ourselves at the level of being. And we tend to set ourselves up for disappointment. Let's say you have a New Year's resolution where you want to go and start running in the mornings. So you have this great, idea and you're all inspired, and then it doesn't last, right? This is so common, and this is because you were trying to do something, but your patterning, your programming based from the subconscious mind is trying to keep you the same, and you weren't really changing who you were being. You were just trying to do something differently without changing the being. So a little hack, a simpler way into this, is to start changing our way of being with just a tiny little step by calling out a pattern, a story that we've been telling ourselves that isn't even true, that's keeping us stuck. I want to give you two examples from my own life where I have found huge freedom by making little tweaks, and how it's just made such a big difference and given me such a momentum boost to other areas of my life. Okay, so the first example is that I've never been much of a planner. I kind of like to wing things and be creative and go with the flow. But I started to realize more and more that that was working against me in one area of my life. I didn't want to feel bogged down and trapped through planning, but the lack of planning was actually making me bogged down. And this was in the area around meals, like food and what we were going to eat every day as a family. Because I wasn't planning, I wasn't organized, and it just started to feel like a drudge and a drag all the time, and like running to the shops constantly. What are we going to eat today? And, I knew that on the few times that I had made a bit of a plan and got really organized on the weekend, that it made such a difference. But I had this resistance to doing it because it just wasn't my normal way of being. So I started to call that out and challenge it. And on a Sunday, which, it was the best day for me usually, when I thought about going to the markets, which I actually love doing. I love going to the veggie markets and getting, especially if we can make it a bit of a family outing and do it together, going and getting lots of fruits and veggies, and then maybe going to the another shop to, to top up the rest of what we need, and making a food plan. When I do that, the week just flows so much better, so much more easily. It feels abundant. The fridge is stocked with food, and there's so many choices, and we've got a plan, and it's so much less mental energy to think about what we're going to eat. I can't tell you what a massive difference doing this made for me. But what would happen is, on the Sunday when I'd think about going and doing that, all these thoughts would come in like, I don't feel like it, not today. No, I don't really need to. I can just kind of wing it. And I had to start calling out that pattern, that story, that way of being that I was identifying with as someone who doesn't plan, someone who doesn't get organized in this way, someone who's not so structured. I had to call that out and change my way of being. And notice the resistance that I would have that always comes up whenever you want to do something differently. So I made this change in my life in something that seems so little maybe and petty, but it made such a big difference. And it created momentum because it made me feel very empowered. Now, The second area in which I did this was around going to the gym. I have always thought, no way, I am not a gym person. You know, I got my exercise in different ways, but I've never been that consistent with exercise. But I like to walk, I like to swim, I like to do yoga, but going to the gym, not me. But one day the idea just came to me that maybe I would enjoy going, because my husband goes, and if I went with him, it might actually help me to be consistent, and he can show me what to do, and maybe I would enjoy it. So really, I surprised my brain. I surprised this kind of way of being that I was identifying with as someone who would never go to a gym, and certainly not consistently. And I called out that story, I changed it, I challenged it, and I started going, and I couldn't believe how good it made me feel, and what a difference I noticed in myself and my energy levels in such a short period of time. And so this is just another example of how something that can seem small can actually be really big. I can't tell you how empowering it feels when you call out some area of your life where you felt stuck or frustrated or inconsistent, and you just choose to see yourself in a new way. You choose to do something differently, tell a new story, identify, or rather change your identity, change the way that you are being. It's changing the way that we're being, even if it's with little things, that actually creates real change at the subconscious level. If you are only trying to make changes in things that you are doing, it doesn't last. So what is one little area of your life that where you perhaps feel a bit stuck, a bit stagnant, a bit frustrated? What's one little thing that you could do that starts to help you identify with a new way of being that feels more true and authentic and good for you? So I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below if this resonates, and if you can think of one little area of your life that you would love to declare that you could make a little shift that can create powerful momentum, big freedom through little things. If you found this video helpful, remember to share it. Remember to sign up for my email updates. You can do that over at kellyhine.com for more helpful tips and resources for living a life that you love. Thanks for listening, and remember to always make space to calm your mind and nourish your soul. I'll see you next time.